Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out from Israel to share with you. So, late yesterday evening, we had major reports coming out that Israel had come under attack by some form of a ballistic missile that struck inside of central Israel, very close to Tel Aviv and also the Ben Gurion airport. And apparently, this missile was fired all the way from Yemen from the Houthi rebels. Okay, so this thing passed over the Red Sea, bypassed multiple U.S. warships, and bypassed also all of Israel's air defense systems. They've got multiple air defense systems that did not take this thing down. Even Jordanian air defense systems did not take it down nearby as well. And even their aircraft were not able to shoot this thing down. So we found out the reason today is because this was a hypersonic missile that was being used. This thing traveled 2,000 kilometers in 11 and a half minutes, guys, flying Mach 9. Okay, so this is obviously a very major statement to Israel to let them know that the Yemen Houthis do have the capability to strike Israel, although they are very far away. So, and also, we did reports several months back too that the Yemen Houthis had unveiled some new hypersonic missiles. So the Yemen Houthis definitely have some great capabilities down here. And some countries like China were coming out and saying that the Yemen Houthis deserve the recognition of one of the most powerful militaries in the world, as they've essentially defeated the U.S. down in the Red Sea. They have blocked a lot of the Red Sea shipping lanes. A lot of ships don't even travel through there anymore. U.S. warships, the Navy has been working down there to try to put a stop to the Houthi attacks. And they still, as of today, for how many months now, for going on almost a year actually, have not been able to put a stop to any of these attacks. So this is obviously very, very big news, and I want to talk some more about this today. So I've got several things we're going to go over today on X. So let's start with this from Iran Spectator. Breaking news, it is now confirmed that it was in fact a hypersonic class missile that hit Tel Aviv today. The Yemeni hypersonic missile flew at Mach 9 and traveled 2,040 kilometers in 11 minutes. It is a certainty that Iran gave Yemen this missile to test. Okay, so here's a map to show the trajectory of this missile as it traveled from western Yemen on over through the Red Sea, bypassing these three U.S. warships, the Michael Murphy, Frankie Peterson Jr., and Chevalier Paul, bypassing all these warships, heading over over the Red Sea, on over to Israel. And Jordanian air defense systems didn't take this down. Like I said, there was no air defense systems that were able to shoot it down. I think the Iron Dome and their aero defense system shot something like 20 interceptors at this missile and were unsuccessful at destroying it. Okay, so we've also got this report too from Royal Intel. Nesher factory in Ramlah. According to Israeli media, there is a fire that has nothing to do with the fall of the missile this morning, yet you hear sirens sounding in the background at the same time. So this video footage, I want to show you this. This is some fire here at some sort of coal elevator mine shaft facility or something like that, like a conveyor belt that they transport something on. And this video was being shown as if this was what was struck inside of Israel. I don't believe this is what was struck. It doesn't look like it was hit by a missile, but we had video footage of this conveyor belt system that appears to be on fire here. So we'll just kind of briefly watch this for a moment. Okay, so we'll pause that just for a moment. You guys can keep watching while I speak, but yeah, so apparently this elevator facility here was on fire, and at the same time we can hear these sirens in the background. Okay, so some people were speculating that this facility was struck by this missile, but the IDF came out and said that this thing landed in an open field, that nobody was hurt by this. But we do have some reports as well saying that there were some injuries, so definitely a weird situation. Also some reports saying that this missile could have landed next to some highway. So there's just so much information coming out that I don't know exactly where this missile landed, but we'll show you all the reports here regardless. So let's move to our next update. Israel Defense Forces, following the sirens that sounded a short while ago in central Israel, a surface-to-surface missile was identified crossing into central Israel from Yemen and fell in an open area. No injuries were reported. Okay, so that's what they said. It fell into an open area. The IDF stated this, and no injuries were reported according to the IDF as of yesterday at 9 p.m. Okay, so this was approximately about maybe 18 hours ago at the time that I record this, 17 hours ago. So maybe there's some more updates that came out soon after that showed these injuries, but I have some reports talking about that some people actually were injured. Also from Israel Defense Forces, sirens sounding across all central and southern Israel. So there was just sirens everywhere. I mean, look at this. Definitely a lot of people were impacted by this, and people didn't have a lot of time to get into shelters. Literally 11 minutes, and this thing struck. So that's not a lot of time. If you're out, working or something, or in some office building, you don't really have a lot of time to get into a bunker and a shelter to try to protect yourself from these attacks. So pretty crazy to see that. So also we got this report from Warfare Analysis breaking. The Yemeni missile that targeted Tel Aviv was hypersonic. Yemeni Armed Forces spokesman, by the grace of Allah, the missile force of the Yemeni Armed Forces carried out a special military operation targeting an Israeli military objective in the Jaffa area of occupied Palestine. The operation was executed using a new hypersonic ballistic missile, which was successfully reached its target, with the enemy's defenses failing to intercept it. The missile covered a distance of 2,040 kilometers in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So this is Yahya Saree, the spokesman for the Yemen Houthis, and that's what he came out saying in this video. There's no subtitles or anything like that, and they're speaking in their native language, so I'm not going to show you guys the video, but that's what he basically stated during this speech. So we'll move on to our next update now from Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. The Houthis should have known by now that we are charging a heavy price for any attempt to harm us. Those who need a reminder, welcome to visit Hodeidah port. Okay, so Benjamin Netanyahu coming out and warning of a severe response to this attack on the Yemen Houthis. And last time when the Yemen Houthis launched a drone into Tel Aviv, that's the first time Tel Aviv has ever been struck, from what I understand, from a drone. And they immediately bombed the port of Hodeidah down in Yemen. So that's what Benjamin Netanyahu was saying here, that, go ahead and visit the Hodeidah port. If you need a reminder of what we will do if anybody tries to harm us, is what he was saying. So they're definitely going to respond to this and strike the Houthis again, probably sometime soon. We'll see what they do, and whenever they strike them, I will give you guys an updated report on that. Quds News Network reports Israeli security expert Yossi Melman reports that the Yemeni missile has breached the entire layered defense system of Israel, including the Arrow, David Sling, Iron Dome, aircraft and jamming systems. I mean, look at all these air defense systems that they have, and this missile was still able to bypass all of them and strike inside of Israel, in central Israel, near Tel Aviv. Okay, so very big news. Also from current report, Israeli media speculating that Houthis launched a hypersonic missile that bypassed Israeli defense by staying at a high altitude and fell in the area of Highway Number 1 near Kfar Daniel. Okay, so that's this report that was saying that it landed near a highway inside of Israel, and it says Israeli army announces 5 injuries of settlers while trying to reach shelters in Tel Aviv. Okay, so apparently, according to this report, we may have had some injuries as well near Tel Aviv as this missile came and struck central Israel. So now this report again from Warfare Analysis. Hebrew sources say over 20 air defense missiles from the Arrow and David Sling system were fired, but they failed to intercept the Yemeni missile targeting Tel Aviv. Okay, so this is a report showing over 20 air defense missiles were fired from the Arrow and David Sling systems, and still were unsuccessful in taking this thing down. This is a picture of some smoke inside of Israel. Now, I don't know if this is the attack that happened. This looks a little small to me, this amount of smoke, considering that this was a ballistic missile, but maybe it wasn't that big of a missile. So I don't know if this is for sure the strike of that missile hitting, and that's what this picture is, but it could be another photo of a rocket attack coming from the Hezbollah as well, because Hezbollah has been attacking a lot inside of Israel. So I cannot confirm this 100%, but that's what they shared here on their X page. Also from Syrian Girl, breaking, Tel Aviv power station has been struck. Okay, this came out around the same time that the hypersonic missile supposedly struck Israel just yesterday. So I don't know if the Tel Aviv power station was the direct target or not. I have no idea whether that is true, but that is what Syrian Girl is reporting She usually reports a lot of Middle East conflict down here, especially what happens in Syria, considering that she's probably from there. So also, we'll go ahead and move on. Warfare analysis reports Israeli media, the Yemeni missile forced 2 million, 365,000 settlers to enter shelters this morning. Look at that, guys. So 2.3 million people having to run for shelters as they're in danger of losing their life if they don't get into these shelters to protect themselves from this attack. And obviously, they probably didn't know how many missiles were coming in. Luckily it was only one ballistic missile that was fired, or hypersonic. And so 2 million people having to seek shelter. So also, War Monitor reports, Ansar Allah spokesman, we launched a hypersonic ballistic missile towards a military target in Tel Aviv, Haifa area. The missile traveled a distance of 2,040 kilometers and managed to reach its destination in 11 and a half minutes. Now, although there were wounded, it seems it's because of a fragment that fell, not the warhead itself. So this is actually a picture, from what I understand, that Israeli media was sharing, that the missile, when it struck, that's all the damage that we were able to see was some sort of escalators heading down to some sort of underground area. And it looks like some of the glass here was destroyed, maybe from the explosion nearby, who knows. But it's very interesting that only the glass in this section was destroyed at the bottom of these stairs. I don't know if this is an outdoor area and maybe these are leading up to some higher, top of a building or something, or like an overpass. And maybe this was out on the ground because it's really hard to tell. But this is a picture that was being shared that was supposedly some of the damage from this attack. So also, we'll move on now. I've got a couple things that are not relating to the attack anymore, but in regards to the Yemen Houthis that I wanted to update you guys on. This came out from Megatron Ron today. It says, breaking. A large number of Yemeni forces went to Syria for ground operations against Israel, Sputnik reports. They entered Syria via Iraq, and they will probably join Hezbollah in the war that Netanyahu announced yesterday. He stated that Israel is preparing for a ground invasion of Lebanon. Okay, so these are some of the Houthi rebels on trucks. And yeah, this is being widely talked about on X right now, that supposedly tons of Houthi fighters are heading over to Syria and already there to prepare for ground operations with the other Iranian-backed groups in Iraq and Syria, and they prepare to attack Israel at some point soon when Israel launches their ground invasion of Hezbollah. And we've been hearing a lot of that from Benjamin Netanyahu recently. He's been saying that they're preparing to launch a ground offensive into southern Lebanon to push Hezbollah back. So it's definitely looking like we're going to see a major war here in the Middle East, guys, and it's going to get out of control very quickly. And we're seeing all the pieces come together right now, just like this. Also from Times of Israel alerts, live update, Lebanese media claim IDF dropped flyers warning villagers to flee. So this came out just today. This is interesting, okay? And this is how we know definitely a war could be coming if Israel is dropping flyers. This according to Lebanese media, okay? That's what they're saying, that, the IDF's dropping flyers telling the people in these areas to leave in southern Lebanon, as most likely a ground operation could begin at any moment. And it really, we don't know exactly when this is going to start, but Benjamin Netanyahu, did say recently that, he has ordered his military, like in the last week or so, to prepare for a ground operation and push into southern Lebanon. So also from Alex Gandler, the last weekend in Israel, 70 rockets from Lebanon fired at northern Israel. Ballistic rocket from Yemen explodes above central Israel. Rockets from Gaza are intercepted in the south. We are facing multiple Islamic fundamental enemies. All eyes on us. Okay, so what's being reported here is that Israel is basically surrounded. Okay, they just came under attack by Gaza just the other day. Hamas was firing rockets again. Once again into Israel from the Gaza Strip, that we've got this ballistic missile coming from the Yemen Houthis over to Israel, and then also Hezbollah has been pounding Israel over the last several weeks, like heavily every day, almost like 50 to 100 rockets or more being reported flying into Israel almost every single day coming from Lebanon. So also this report here, this just came out today, says from Zaina Bezerra, breaking, Hezbollah attacked Israel this morning with about 150 rockets. Mount Meron and the air control base are burning. This is major escalation again by Hezbollah. Now, this video doesn't have any sound, but we can see there's Mount Meron up here. This is a major military base for Israel. And it looks like it came under attack by hundreds of rockets, as we can see Lots of smoke up here, probably some damage on the base. And I also heard some reports. I didn't really do a video on this recently because we've been talking so much about the Ukraine war, but lots of military bases on the northern side of Israel coming under attack by Hezbollah rockets and being destroyed, and by drones. Israel's been having lots of casualties within their military recently, and this is why they're preparing to go to war with Hezbollah at some point soon. So it's definitely shaping up to be a major war here in the Middle East. And we know that the U.S. still has a lot of military assets stationed all throughout the Middle East right now as well. So they're still expecting something big to go down, guys, and it's just a matter of time. And it's crazy to think, we're right around the time of an election, and now we're hearing that all these wars are about to break out. So the timing couldn't be more perfect. So just be ready for anything, because not only in this war are we seeing major escalation, but what's happening over in Ukraine is insane too. And then you got to think also that if the U.S. gets tied up in any of these wars, whether it's Russia or whether it's with Israel over here against all these Iranian-backed groups, potentially even Iran themselves, we may see other countries taking advantage of the opportunity to go after their wartime goals as well, like China going after Taiwan, North Korea going after South Korea. And this thing could just get widely out of control if the U.S. is tied up in all these battles over here, let's say in the Middle East or with Ukraine and Russia, who knows. So yeah, just be prepared for anything, because it's definitely not looking good over here. We're having major escalation in the Middle East, although we haven't been reporting this too much lately. So I wanted to share the latest details with you and get this out there. I hope you got something out of this today. If you did, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.